Welcome to Acton in Focus. I'm Vivian Kopsinger-Birchall, your host, with our special guest, Ian Bergemann. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me today.
And for those, again, who are being introduced to yourself, could you tell us about what you do, yourself and what you do in the town?
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Ian Bergemann. I am now the Open Space and Trails Manager. They received a job change in January.
Wow!
So, yes.
Congratulations!
Thank you very much.
Imagine.
Yes, so it's easier now. I manage the Open Space and Trails. So
nice.
With all the volunteers in the Land Stewardship Committee, we look after all of the beautiful conservation land, such like the one that we're standing in today.
And where are we for the sake of our viewers?
We are in Nagog Hill Conservation Land, right off of Nagog Hill Road.
Well, first of all, for our viewers, this place, it is beautiful, covered in snow. But, you know, one of the things that Ian warned about is that this is somewhere that is very easy for people to get lost. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Nagog Hill Conservation Land, if you don't know where it is and you know where Nagog Pond is, this backs up right up to that area. And so this trail system is a really old one. So there are a lot of blazed and marked trails, and there are a lot of trails that aren't marked. And we're next to Water District land, so there's no houses around. So a lot of people wander, and as we can see in the wintertime, we have these beautiful trails that people make with their feet, but you'll see runaway trails that often are somebody just exploring, looking for birds, and they could really get you lost if you follow them. So making sure you can see our yellow blazes at all times means that you're on the right trail that's going to bring you back home when you're ready.
Excellent. Speaking of, again, Nagog Conservation Hill, where we are, what is special about this conservation area?
Yeah, I happen to grow up in Connecticut, very, very rocky place, and I think Nagog Hill is one of the places that reminds me the most of that area. We have beautiful stone walls here. We also have some really amazing glacial erratics, and that just means they are boulders that were picked up by our receding glaciers and deposited here. So we have some of them sometimes called egg rocks. We do have one over here, a little far away from where we are. Another thing about this area is, as you can tell, if we take a moment to pause, it's an extremely quiet place. It's really nice for getting away. People love to bring their dogs here. As you can see, there's plenty of places for them to run around. All in all, it's a conservation land that has a little bit of everything.
Right, and to this specific interview or series is to show our town residents how to have some fun in the winter. Can you speak to the nature of what activities can happen here at this conservation area in the winter with the snow all over the place?
Yeah. So we've braved it by hiking in, which is something you can do all year round. Coming with the proper gear is always a smart thing to do, or coming to an area with a guide if you don't know how to navigate the trails. Often people have those spikes on their shoes if they need a little bit more grip to the snow, traction, absolutely. Another activity that people you'll see will be the first people to do it are our cross-country skiers. So they'll create nice little lines in the tracks that you'll see. Those are really sort of the guiding moment for then all of our hikers, because we'll end up walking on those tracks, which does ruin it for them. So making sure that there's space for both activities is always a good idea. This time of year, it's also really easy to see birds and hear them. So it's a great time to go bird watching. We do have a lot of birds that stay over winter with us. So that's an opportunity to take when you come out here. I also like to say, if you're somebody who takes photos or you're into film photography, the contrast on black and white film with snow is really beautiful. So it's a great time of year to get out and get some artistic inspiration. And then, as always, people can always come sledding. It's not a bad time to go and play with the kids and make snowmen or any sort of activity that involves snow. There's obviously an abundance of it. So there are a lot of different ways to get out and have some fun. And then one I didn't mention, snowshoeing. Always a lot of fun. The snow is certainly deep enough to do it.
What is snowshoeing?
So snowshoeing, they take, sometimes the old version of it is, it looks like a tennis racket. And they kind of attach it to their shoes, the bottom of it, and actually allows you to step on top of the snow without sinking too much.
Really?
Yeah, it's a very good way to make sure you can stay dry. It's a very fun activity. It's one of those activities I've always been told that's like do not treat it like hiking because it takes a lot more energy to move in the snow than you think.
Right.
So if you come out here and you go for a run every day and there's no snow on the ground, yeah, you could probably be done in an hour. But if there's snow on the ground and you got to navigate that snow, it might take you 2 hours. So being prepared for your own limitations in the snow is really helpful.
That's a very, very helpful guidelines or tips on how to enjoy. But maybe one thing I wanted to point out for those who are enjoying with dogs, to remember to clean up because we've seen some cases where dog poop was not cleaned up. So just a reminder to give our fellow residents to please keep the conservation area usable for everyone.
That's absolutely, yeah, and there are a lot of reasons we want people to pick up their dog poop. Obviously it's unsightly. Second of all, that goes into the water supply. So we don't really want to be drinking that. So one way to keep yourself safe is to make sure that everything's getting cleaned up after you're done with the woods. We always adhere to leave no trace principles, which means you're out here and you're only leaving footsteps.
Absolutely. And then back to the conservation area. I'm looking at the different trees. What's it with these trees? I know we had a conversation coming in about some trees being killed by vines. Is this unique to this conservation area? Is it unique to specific trees?
Yeah, it's not unique to this conservation area. I also just want to point out we have a dog showed up. So on cue.
Photobombing us.
hello, friend. Yeah, so this is a good opportunity to take to, if you're new to Acton or if you're ever visiting Acton too, we don't have a law that requires folks to keep dogs on their leashes. One of the big things that they need to do, as you're demonstrating right now, is that dog needs to be under control with voice, so it needs to stop and listen to the owner when the owner calls to them. So if you are visiting our conservation lands and you're a little bit nervous about dogs, never feel like you can't just tell the owner, hey, I'm a little uncomfortable, can you make sure that dog's on a leash or just close to you when I walk by? But yeah, so that's a good example of that.
That's very, very helpful to hear from you. Before I ask Ian about the birds here, I just wanted to show you the depth of the snow. Usually I'm not the same height as Ian. Believe me, I am like a 5 or something. But let me give you a demonstration. This is how deep it is. I know Corinne wanted me to actually fall in it. I'm not going to fall in it, but I can, try to jump. It's actually a little heavy. So be watchful, mindful, and stay on the trail if you don't want to be buried in the snow. All right, Ian, back to you. Can you tell us about the birds here?
Yeah, absolutely.
What kind of birds would people expect to see around this time?
Yeah, so right now, a lot of our birds are starting to make that journey back up here.
Right.
Our birds that have overwintered here, they're starting to get out and look for some food sources. So some of the birds that people can listen for and see are definitely our blue jays, our black-capped chickadees, our woodpeckers, a lot of our titmouse and our sparrows, and a lot of bluebirds are still out this time around. And of course, you'll see a red flicker of our red cardinals. But some of the birds that we'll start seeing and start hearing for at night are our barred owls. They're going to start looking out for places to live. And recently I was just teaching some preschool kids some of the sounds they make. So for the barred owl, if you hear a "who cooks for you? Who cooks for you?" That's sort of a nice way to remember it. You might as well have a barred owl in your backyard. So we're certainly starting to hear a lot of our friends coming out and looking around. Our deer are starting to make some more movement too. And certainly our coyotes are out too now, looking around. So everybody's going to start emerging for that spring time, which we sometimes call the vernal equinox or the spring equinox, which is in about a month, on March 21st or so. The Earth will finally complete its winter cycle, and we'll be getting a lot more sunlight, and things will be changing a little bit more. That said, we still have some snow in the forecast.
I know, for tonight.
Yes.
But before I even get there, I cannot pretend to know all the birds. So if somebody needs a bird guide, what is the best place to get it so that when they come, they can look out for all these marvelous birds that you just pointed out?
Yeah. So there are tons of bird guides out there from Audubon, from different resources that give you a visual, give you like narratives and paragraphs.
Okay.
If you're somebody like me who, bringing a book out to the woods just doesn't work for you. You need something to help you a little bit more. And I struggle with using binoculars, believe it or not. My eyelashes are pretty long, so that could be an issue. So one of the things I found is a nice little workaround is that Cornell has an app, the university, called the Merlin app, where it actually can detect bird calls and then match it to the bird.
That's fancy.
It's very, very fancy. It helps them get a database on where birds are living, and it helps us have a different way to observe birds. So instead of just a visual, you can use your auditory.
Right.
And we know that all of us learn differently, so it's really cool to have different ways to identify birds.
Absolutely. No, thank you for that, because it would be helpful for a person like me, because my bird literacy is not that great, but but I know the blue jays at least, and a few others. So, but great to know that. So what else are we gonna look at today?
Yeah, so right now, for any of our viewers at home, we are in a different part of Nagog Hill. This is a meadow habitat. There's about 1 of 2 of these in Nagog Hill. We're in the smaller meadow. This area will be something to really look for when the snow starts to melt, because by August, this will be full with 4 to 5 foot tall plants that have beautiful colors ranging from purple to blue to yellow. We get goldenrod. We get all these different species that can support our pollinators. Right. So really coming through this area will be a really unique habitat that'll start right when the snow melts.
All right, just getting a little distracted. Behind us, there are different trails. Is that just dogs wandering off and owners trying to find them?
Yeah. So some of these trails are going to be dogs, coyotes. Right here, actually, we talked about this. This looks like maybe it might have been snowshoeing. It has this wide circular part to it.
Right.
But any of these trails and everything, they're really fun in the wintertime. Mass Wildlife produces a guide on how to actually identify tracks, from bunnies to mice, to squirrels and raccoons, to possums, and of course our deer and our coyotes. So if you do have time and you still want to get out here, you can observe right here is a good example of potentially a bunny. Has this sort of the hopping motion to it.
Right. Look at the little fit.
Yeah, so it's a cool time of year to figure out where the wildlife are navigating through our areas. And also it's a good time of year for somebody who manages the trails to see what trails are getting used and what aren't getting used.
Right. Corinne, are you ready? I'm actually going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Here we come.
Should we hold anything?
Yes, please. Hold this very carefully. Okay. Wait. Where is that clear snow? Here, maybe. All right. Ooh. I don't know if I should fall in face forward or backward.
I'll help you up if you go backward.
Backward. Somebody be ready to pull me out. 1, 2, 3, go. Whoa! I did it. I'm stuck.
No worries, you grab on.
I did it. That was fun.
Yeah, that's a big part of being out here, right? Is you can just go play in the snow.
All right, so let's get to the vines. Ian is gonna talk about the vines and how they can be a danger to the trees. So, what is this place we are standing right now?
Yeah, so a couple of us volunteers call this invasive alley.
Okay.
It is a great example of out of control invasive species. So we have everything ranging here from multiflora rose to our winged euonymus or burning bush to great examples of bittersweet vines sort of taking down trees. A lot of this, you can see how the vines just wrap themselves up the tree. They can get as thick as 6 inches and they just smother the tree to death.
6 inches?
Yeah. Okay. So they will start off like a vine, like a poison ivy, but poison ivy doesn't get so thick and barky. So there's a great example of one right over here where really they just can wrap themselves around a tree and then they'll climb the tree, spread leaves and spread berries all over. And as those berries fall down or get eaten, they'll sprout at the bottom of the tree and they'll keep wrapping that same tree until finally the tree dies, weakens itself, and collapses and leaves a massive hole in the canopy.
So is there a particular project for getting rid of these vines? And if so, how often do you guys come out here to work on this?
Yeah, so because this is across all conservation lands, that's a very spread out volunteer project. Very often what we'll do is we'll come out here, we'll assess the bigger ones, and then we'll try to cut them almost a little bit above ground level, a couple inches, and then take a foot of the section out, leave the hanging portion on the tree. That'll die. The big thing that people always do is they just cut it once and they think it's done, but it'll just re-sprout and then grab the piece you cut off and just go back up.
Okay.
So very often we're out here trying to cut things back. The priority for us is always keeping the trail open.
Right.
You can see here we have some multiflora rows. These are big hedges and they will try to get into this trail. They're another one where the best we could do is really cut them back. And then the only way to get rid of all of these is just to dig them up as much as we can. Bittersweet's a fun one to dig up. It has bright orange roots.
Okay.
So if you're looking for something for the kids or the grandkids to do as a game, look for the orange roots. That's one where you can pull and it'll keep going, and it could have, 10 to 20 feet of vines just going on the ground. Multiflora rose is no fun at all. It has spikes. They hook onto you. It has extremely disappointing rose flowers. So it's just all in all a really tough one to get rid of, just like trying to get rid of any other rose.
And if residents in the community wanted to be a part of this project, how do they sign up to volunteer to get rid of this?
Absolutely. So we are just now starting to kick off putting together a newsletter and a mailing list to folks so they can receive updates on projects to sign up for. The best way they can do that is to email me at conservation@actonma.gov and say, "Hi, Ian," and we'll go from there. But otherwise, people can just, stop by town hall. If they can just find me in town.
Find you? That's a hard one.
That's true. As long as they can find
Always
me.
in the conservation area.
That's true. That's true. So, if they see somebody bopping around the woods and they think it's me, it's more than likely I'll recruit them right then and there to help me out. So, yeah, we're always looking for help with this. It could be a very fun project. If you have any kids at home that like to, work with scissors, they want to do some hair cutting, it's a great way to get started with that practice.
Well, thank you again, Ian. Is there anything we haven't talked about this Nagog Hill Conservation Area for today?
No, I think it's about covered. We took a nice journey from one habitat to another. I just encourage people to get out here while we still have the snow. It's really beautiful and really quiet. And also, try to come out the other times a year. Take photos in one spot and see how the seasons change.
Right, that's a great idea. I think I need to try that out. But to our viewers, I hope you've learned about a few ways you can have fun here at Nagog Hill Conservation Area and have fun in Acton, but safely. With guidelines, you can go to the town of Acton to read up on the trails and guidelines for using the trails. But for now, thank you for watching. Till next time.